Title: From High School Laughter to $1 Million Yachts. My Revenge Story. I've got a story that's both crazy and a little satisfying. It's a bit of a revenge story, but not the kind you'd expect. Let me take you back to high school when I was the guy no one gave a second look to. I wasn't rich, I wasn't popular, and I was a punching bag for everyone. There was this one guy, Jake. Let's just say he was the king of every high school cliché you can think of. Rich, arrogant, and absolutely ruthless. Jake's family had a yacht. And he never let me forget it. At 16, he'd flaunt the fact that his family was cruising the Mediterranean while I was working my ass off at the local gas station to help pay rent. Jake loved making fun of me for wearing secondhand clothes. One time he laughed at me in front of a group for my shoes, probably the most embarrassing moment of my life. But what really stung wasn't the teasing, it was the feeling that I would never be anything more than the kid no one remembered. It got worse when I graduated. While everyone went off to college or into their fancy internships, I stayed in my small town working shitty jobs. Fast food, retail, barista, anything to get by. But in the back of my head, that voice was always there. Jake and his yacht will always be above you. You're a failure. It wasn't until I was 25 working at a cafe as a barista that I had enough. Jake walked in. He didn't recognize me. He was on his phone talking about the new yacht his family was buying. I stood there pouring his oat milk latte, listening to him brag about how amazing it was going to be to have a brand new boat. Meanwhile, I was wearing my faded apron working for tips. I don't know what snapped inside me, but I made a decision that day. I wasn't going to let guys like Jake, who thought they had everything, make me feel worthless anymore. So, I decided to go into the yacht business. I know, sounds weird, right? But hear me out. I figured if rich people wanted yachts, then maybe, just maybe, I could get in on that. It was time to turn the tables. But I had no money, no experience, and no contacts. The only thing I had was the willingness to hustle my ass off. I started by getting a job at a marina. It wasn't glamorous. Trust me. I was cleaning boats, tying ropes, scrubbing barnacles off hulls, and doing the crap jobs nobody else wanted. But here's the thing, I was paying attention. Every yacht owner who came in, I asked them questions. Why did they pick this yacht? What did they like or hate about it? Slowly, I started to understand the world I was working in. These people weren't just buying a yacht. They were buying status. They were buying exclusivity. And I was going to sell it to them. A year later, I scraped together enough money to take an online course for yacht brokerage. It wasn't cheap and it was risky, but I needed to know more than how to scrub a deck. The course taught me everything: yacht design, how to sell to wealthy clients, the legal stuff. I wasn't exactly the model student, but I was getting the knowledge I needed to take it to the next level. With that certification in hand, I managed to land a job at a small brokerage. I started selling smaller boats, nothing huge, but I treated every sale like it was a multimillion-dollar yacht. Every client got the VIP treatment, and slowly people started noticing. I began building a reputation as the guy who would go the extra mile. And it worked. Then came the moment that changed everything. I got an offer from a wealthy tech entrepreneur who wanted to buy a yacht for his family. This was my chance. I took him to private viewings, arranged sea trials, and pulled out every trick I had in my book. A month later, he signed a $3 million deal. I'll be honest, I cried a little in my car. But I wasn't done. I'd saved enough money to start my own brokerage. It was a huge risk. My office was tiny. I couldn't afford any of the fancy perks my competitors had. But I had something they didn't: hunger. I went all in on a boutique service, promising a personal experience for every buyer. I knew what rich people wanted, and I wasn't going to let them forget it. It was slow at first. The clients came, but they were few and far between. I was barely scraping by, working 16-hour days, not knowing if this was all going to crash down. Then, out of nowhere, Jake walked into my showroom. At first, I didn't recognize him. He had the same arrogant, entitled look on his face. When it clicked who he was, I can't lie, it felt amazing. I didn't show it though. I treated him like any other client. I showed him yachts. I let him test drive a few. The whole time I kept thinking about the guy who used to laugh at me in high school. Now he was looking at me, waiting for me to make him a deal. He ended up buying a yacht. A big one. We're talking $6 million. And as he signed the papers, he said it. The words I had been waiting for my whole life. You've really done well for yourself, man. No apology, no recognition of all the years he made my life hell, but it was enough. It was a victory. Now I'm 32. I run my own brokerage. I've got clients who trust me, a solid team, and a business that pulls in over $20 million a year. Jake. I don't even think about him. What I know now is that his yacht means nothing to me anymore. I've got my own empire. And that's the best revenge of all. Follow me for part 2.